So, a lot of things has been going on with WWE. Let's just be for real. A lot has been going on with WWE. I mean, WWE has definitely been in the headlines for a while now. I mean, you would think after Mania, it would simmer down and go back to normal. But now it's just a lot going on behind the scenes and everything. So let me just say this: I was watching and listening to Conan's podcast, Keeping It 100 podcast with Conan and Disco Inferno, and I heard a few interesting things that I feel like you guys might want to, hear. So as I listened to this, and they were talking about the whole AAA deal, the whole AAA situation, and one of the main things that they were discussing about AAA or whatever was that AAA's name was never going to be changed. At least that's what they said. At least that's what Conan said. The name AAA was never going to be changed. It's still going to be AAA. It's just going to be under the WWE umbrella. Yo, Dan, what's good? What's good, Dan? So, they saying that it's just going to be under the WWE umbrella. It's not going to change the name or nothing like that. Um, I also heard, which I don't know how true it is or whatnot. I also heard that their mega champion, which was Alberto Del Rio, and I think somebody already answered that question for me already. I'm not 100% sure. Their mega champion, which is Alberto Del Rio, I also heard that he has been removed or fired or whatever the case may be. Don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard too. But that wasn't reported on the podcast. That was just something that people have been posting for a little while now. Um, the one thing that stood out to me though was the whole situation. What's that? He was uh he was fired, and they were having a tournament. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yo, conscious was good.
What's good, boss?
Nothing, man. I almost didn't get on the live today, man. I was tired, man. But I was like, man, I gotta get up in here and get this thing going, man. And start
Was in
uh
Daydream's live. It was a great live. So I'm like, hey, spend time with the fam,
yeah.
having a good time.
Yeah, I was in there listening to what y'all were talking about as far as the he was creating like a board game or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
a wrestling draft. So we're basically doing what WWE and like other wrestling promotions, but mostly WWE. We're doing what they should be doing
Mhm.
when it comes to like having a draft.
Mhm.
And it's actually like really good, like how Daydream came up with it. It's really, really interesting. So I
Mhm.
can't wait for all of us to play it this week.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's what's up. That's
But
what's up.
and I mean, like Adrian said, for anybody who was in the live, it just gave you opportunity, to come up with new game ideas. Where instead of just talking about wrestling all day, it's like, hey, let's have like a wrestling trivia, stuff like that.
Mhm. Wow, that's good. That's great, man. That's great. So, what I wanted to talk to everybody about was the AAA WWE situation,
Mm.
because I just found out some things that people might already know, or what I mean, or nobody knows. So what Conan and Disco Inferno was reporting. You ever watch the Keeping It 100 podcast with Conan and Disco Inferno?
No, I haven't. I need to check it out.
All
Yeah,
right,
I haven't
yeah,
either.
check it out. Have you watched it, Dan?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it because I've heard a lot of people on different lives talk about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's not. It's actually a pretty good podcast. Actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I recommend it. I
What's
recommend
it
it.
called? What's it called again? I'm gonna write it down.
What's good, OJ?
It's, Keeping It 100 podcast. It's
Gotcha.
with
Okay.
Conan. It's with Conan and Disco Inferno.
All right. I'll check it out.
Yeah. So what Conan had reported, because he basically was just trying to he was just basically trying to silence the noise as far as like everybody saying that WWE was going to ruin AAA and stuff like that. So one of the things that he said was that there was never any financial issues as far as AAA. He definitely said that. He said there was never no financial issues as far as AAA. He also said that that in order for them to grow, they were going to have to do something that was going to basically, put them out there more, which makes
Yeah.
sense because I like honestly speaking, you know what I mean? I can't watch AAA. And not too many people can. And he even said it on his show. Like he was saying, like, he don't even know how to catch it on the shows. If you don't catch it on YouTube, where you gonna catch it? Which was a bad look because, like, you know what I mean? How you not gonna know where your own show is televised? You know what I'm saying? Besides Mexico, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely sounded like he was telling the truth as far as that, because I can't remember what channel I could watch AAA on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know how to watch that. Like I the
Is it
last couple.
Telemundo? I think it's Telemundo at one point.
Yeah, Telemundo.
I think it was. It used to be.
Mm, mm.
I used to catch it. That was
Well,
like back in the 2000s, I think.
oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? I mean, I've switched back and forth through Telemundo a few times. For like certain shows that seem interesting to me. But unless I got my AI translators,
I mean, this
earpods,
is
then
way
I'm
back in the
not gonna
day, man.
understand what they're talking about.
This is like way back in the day. This is like back in the 2000s, early 2000s and stuff.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Well,
WWE did used to have a show back in the day. This is like back in the Attitude Era. They had like
huh.
a Spanish version of Superstars. It's like a Spanish version. They had these luchadors and yeah, it's like back in the 90s.
Well, I do know. There's a few channels that show luchador like content as far as wrestling. There is a few channels on YouTube that show it. I believe there's this one channel. They got almost 1 million subscribers. I forgot the name, but there's this one channel that shows luchador wrestling, and the content is pretty decent. Like I'm not even gonna hold you. Like it's not AAA, it's not CMLL. It's like this a different promotion, but but if you watch the promotion, you'll recognize some of the wrestlers on there. So it's like it's a pretty well known promotion. I just don't, I can't remember the name at this time because the last time I looked at it was a while back, so I can't
But do you
remember. Hmm?
but do you think WWE's gonna? You think they're gonna follow with their style? You think they're gonna do the luchadors? They got to do it. If they're gonna do
Well,
AAA, they have to do that style.
well. So this is what Conan had reported, right? This is what Conan reported. He said one of the main things that they wanted to work on is definitely put the luchador style out there in the United States more. But he also said that there is going to be a mixture of American wrestlers in there as well, which means they're going to have to learn the WWE style of wrestling. That's basically
Yeah.
what he was saying. They're going to have to learn the WWE style of wrestling. That's
Well,
what.
it's like the same thing when an AEW person comes to WWE, or even when a WWE person goes to AEW, is that
Hmm.
you can immediately tell when they don't jive with the style because
Hmm.
it's a completely different wrestling style.
Hmm. Yeah, and he said He said it was. He said it's different for the hybrid wrestlers because the hybrid wrestlers kind of catch on real quick. He
Yeah.
said like the people like Rey Mysterio, Pentagon, Ray Phoenix. He just would start mentioning people like that, and he was like those guys catch on right away. That's why you didn't never see them in the NXT or whatever because they just it didn't take them long to really catch on to the American style or the WWE style of wrestling. So he mentioned
Yeah,
those guys. Then he went into detail about how the deal was possibly going to work. He's like I said before, he said that the name AAA was going to still be there. He said WWE is not going to change the name, which I don't know just yet. I have to. I don't know if I believe that 100%. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know why they would. Like, I mean, I get that they're prone to doing stupid shit like that, but I feel like like with TNA, bro. Like, I feel like AAA and TNA, like signing them, changing AAA's name, would honestly cause a lot of like insurrection and people being very very mad. So I don't think that they would do that. But then again,
They did the UK. They did it
they
to
did.
the
Yeah, yeah,
UK
exactly.
promotion.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So I could be blowing smoke up all your asses, but I think that
so do you
yeah.
have any idea wrestlers that you want to go down there?
Mm,
um, well, they definitely mentioned Dominic Mysterio.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
They
You know
mentioned
what
him
I
a
put
lot.
down there? I put Garza down there. I put
Orto.
Guerrero.
El Grande Americano.
They mentioned him too. Yo, it's
Yeah.
crazy because we all know it's Chad Gable, right? But because Chad Gable is so versatile at what he does, right? They mentioned him too. They mentioned him too. They mentioned him. They mentioned him possibly being involved in a big angle in that event that they're gonna have in what is that event they're gonna have? Like the Worlds Collide, right?
Yeah. Worlds collide.
What's collide?
Okay, so that event they said he could possibly have a big angle. They didn't say who he's gonna face it or if he would be involved, but they did say that it's a possibility
Yeah.
Okay.
that they would have him there.
I think Dragon Lee need to go down there. I think he needs to go.
Axiom would be fantastic. He's
I think he's okay. I don't think he needs to go. I don't think Aston needs to go. I don't think Penta needs to go. Phoenix, them guys are good.
I'm gonna tell you this, right? We as the fans can do the fantasy booking all day as far as like who we feel should go and who shouldn't. But I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna go for the most well-known guys.
yeah, that's true.
So because they're trying to put themselves out there on the market. So I believe that I believe they're going to get Dominic Mysterio because he's the Intercontinental Champion. So they're going to get him. I
Selena
believe that
Vega.
they probably going to get her too. They going it's going to be what they said was it's going to be a mixture of men and women on that event.
I put Carlito down there. Put him in there.
Yeah, they it says it's going to be a mixture of men and
What's
women.
good from? Honestly, it's just funny because AEW has their Lucha Libre like collaboration. I think like a week before. It just goes to show like WWE, you say you're not competing with AEW, but look at what you're doing.
Bro, there'll always be competition between the two brands,
And
even if
sad
AEW
part,
is so
sad
far.
part is that this is gonna be a shitty like situation because if Worlds Collide is not on point and AEW eats again, yeah.
It will be. It will be.
Nah, honestly, bro, I'm gonna say this. I feel like it's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be a dope event, and
Yeah, bro.
I feel like the, the only reason why I feel like it's gonna be a dope event is because when Conan was talking on that show, he was like, "Look, he's like, if it's not a great event, he said that's his head. So he said he gotta make it happen. You know what I mean? And that's why I said that he's possibly gonna have some of the bigger names, luchador wise and American wise, on that card. So that card could be, you know what I mean, successful at selling tickets and
I
all
know.
that stuff. He's probably gonna do that. So like
We'll definitely see Ray Phoenix and um Rey Mysterio probably. That
Mhm.
depends because I know his knee. I know he messed up his foot or knee or something, but we'll definitely
Mhm.
see him. Dominic, Saturday we'll see El Americano Grande, whatever.
Mhm.
Saturday we'll be seeing him.
But I think, yeah.
Go ahead, OJ.
My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
No,
Keep
no,
going.
you good, you good, you good, you good.
But I think Raymond Stewart. I think he got something to do with this. I think he gonna be part of this. I think he's
Oh
part of
nah, he definitely gonna be a part of it in some
it.
capacity. Even if he's not wrestling, he's definitely gonna be part of it
I
some
think
in
he's gonna
some
be part of
capacity.
it. I think who was gonna be part of it? Who was gonna be part of this?
I
I think
mean,
we'll
I
have
mean, hmm.
Andrade.
Yeah.
Andrade. You know what? I think
And
he'd be a good world champion down there. Let him have the championship belt. Let
Wasn't
him.
he a luchador like at one point in his career? So wouldn't that
yeah,
be
Yeah.
he
cool?
was. He
So
was.
wouldn't that be cool for him to like just like how the demon comes in for like a match once in a while, like him to bring back his luchador persona for one
Bar.
match in AAA?
Hmm. He was. He was. He was a he was a luchador at one time. I mean, he is a luchador. He's still considered a luchador. He just don't got
No,
his
but I mean
mask
like a
no more.
masked, yeah, a masked
Hmm.
luchador.
So yeah, he be
Hmm.
he be my champion. If the Del Rio stuff ain't gonna work, I don't know about Del Rio being part of this company.
Well, I mean, as long as we can take the speed championship off Andrade, I mean, I don't even know if it's still on him, but as long
He
as we
don't
can
need to
take
be.
that off him, and
He needs to. Since that, he needs to be the first champion.
Yeah.
And let him be the champ. Let him be the main guy.
I feel like
Yeah.
it probably will be someone from WWE. Like,
Mm.
I mean, or the Kingo, so they could bring that into like put it on someone because he was on in the crowd at WrestleMania, so that kind of makes sense.
Yo,
Yeah.
yeah, put what's name on that? Evans. Put Evans in that. Put
He
him
was
over
actually
there.
on the flyer. He was on the flyer that they made. He
Yep.
Evans.
Evan Javon Evans. Yep.
You mean to talk about
Put
when
him
them?
down there.
You mean when
Put him
talk?
where he
You mean
work.
when the WWE is about to host Wars Collide?
Hmm.
Let me tell you this right now.
Here we go.
How? No, no. Let me say this. Let me just say this. When AEW throw up walk Alexa, mute TV. Oh, damn. Okay. When basically AEW hosted Worlds Collide for the last 4 years, it was magnificent. We saw luchadors from Japan, France, China, Germany, Mexico, Puerto Rico. I was surprised about Puerto Rico. Dominican Republic. We had people flying in from Tijuana, that literally trained at the Tijuana House of Lucha. So I'm literally going like this. When damn MLW did it, they did an okay job. How in the actual fuck that with they
TikTok
promoters,
language, bro.
bookers and right? No,
Hmm.
okay. What in the actual God's name? How can basically Triple H can basically make worlds collide with those writers, those bookers, and those promoters they have now?
Because they're not, because the reason it being is, and I'm not trying to take no sides or nothing like this. I'm just looking at it from what Conan had talked about on his podcast. So the writers at WWE are not really like, they're involved, but they're just given a financial involvement as far as
Yeah.
what he said. They're not writing any stories for them because they got their own writers, they got their own bookers. They're basically doing the same thing they're doing for TNA. That's basically what he said on his show. He's doing the exact
But,
same
but
thing WWE's doing for TNA.
but the difference
That's
they
what they're
got
doing
bots.
for AAA.
But they
Huh?
got bots. I don't think it's technically like TNA. I think they got bots.
You said
TNA's
what?
not bots. TNA just a
What?
partnership.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. What Triple H need to do is make the damn hole more a lot wider. It can't be just U.S. versus Mexico. It can't. It's got to be U.S. versus Great Britain versus Canada versus basically Mexico versus damn Japan.
I
That's what
mean,
if they need a.
we saw what happened
Mexico.
with
It's
that, and it
Triple
was a
A.
flop. We saw how he tried to do that with NXT UK flop.
Hmm.
Oh no, that's a
He
good.
can't
That's a good
he
wrestling on there.
can't do
I
it.
ain't
He
gonna say
can't
flop.
do it if NXT UK is the flop, and in the UK they're actually trying to recover from that. You're not gonna get a NXT Mexico, NXT Great Britain, NXT Japan. You're not gonna get that because
True.
they're gonna look at it like it's too risky. TKO is not about to sit up there and follow through with Triple H doing a whole nother NXT UK or something like you just said, Black Wing. And unfortunately, guess what? Your first one was a flop. If this one flops, we're losing money. We're not gaining anything. So I don't blame them. I'm not taking any chances. The only way
Yeah,
Triple H would get their attention, they would have to give TKO at least like five good pay-per-views, like 4 or 5 pay-per-views before they even think about, okay, we'll see what we'll think about it. But for right now, it's more like, listen, if you can prove to us, if you can prove to us with 5 pay-per-views how good this can be, then yeah, we'll go for it. We'll go for it.
I
But it
yeah.
think
has to
that
be one day shoes.
I think it's more work for people. It's more spots as far as like wrestling.
Well, that's what Conan had mentioned. Not to cut you off, but that's what Conan has basically said. That it's creating more jobs, more opportunities for their wrestlers up there. And he said, of course they're going to lose wrestlers because not all the wrestlers are down for that idea, but they also going to gain wrestlers too because there's also a lot of
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers that want to be a part of that. I mean, let's be for real here. Like, regardless of how we feel about either promotion, right? There's always going to be somebody that's want to be a part of that show. There's always going to be somebody
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be one part of it. If there's a wrestler out there that ain't got as much exposure as they want, and they know that their home promotion is going to be brought out by one of the biggest promotions in the world, basically they're going to buy in regardless of whatever. They're going to buy in, and and that's basically what Conan said, and it's true. They've been buying in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already seeing them getting endorsement, and the reason why I say it's similar to TNA's. Yeah, we're saying this now that TNA had been brought, but they definitely are getting some money from WWE in some shape or form. Let's not get
Yeah,
it
you're right.
twisted. Let's not
But
get it
I also
twisted.
don't think it's about promotion. I think it's his own little self. It's not like AAA. It's his own thing.
It,
That's
it Trust me. When it comes to WWE and we saying it's its own thing, trust me, there's a lot more that we probably don't know about because, like, you gotta understand too, TNA at one time almost went out of business.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like they did business with AEW before and it didn't work out. So who's the next people in line to do business with? Of course they're gonna do it with WWE if they can find some financial gain out of it. And they are, because look, they're still exchanging wrestlers. Jordan Grace was just in TNA not too long ago. Now she in WWE. Pretty soon, I believe Joe Henry will join WWE as well. You know what I'm
And
saying?
don't be surprised. And it's crazy that you say that because after they do this Worlds Collide, which,
Hmm.
like I said, depending on how well it goes, which Conan is obviously not gonna let it be a flop. I would not be surprised if when The Rock wore that NJPW shirt, I would not be surprised if that's not the next company they try to do some business with.
I've been.
Oh no
What did
no
I?
no
Yo,
no.
conscious. Didn't I say something similar to this
Mm-hmm.
a
I
few
don't think that's
lives
gonna
ago?
happen
I
because
said
Nah,
that.
it's good, bro. One thing I've learned about WWE over the years, they don't have to tell you. They show you by doing certain things, and they
Hmm.
basically want you to piece the puzzle. For The
Yep.
Rock to wear that NJPW shirt, it's a reason why he wore that. You got
Exactly.
AAA, you got
well if they
AAA
work with
right now.
AEW, ain't they work with
Yeah,
AEW? That wouldn't make sense. They work with
but
AEW.
nah, it's think
And
about it. You got AAA, right? If AAA does great with this Worlds Collide pay-per-view, I guarantee you, they're gonna. And remember, The Rock's best friend is R. Emanuel, who's over Triple H,
hmm
so he has the final say. So if The Rock tells him, "Hey, let's go ahead and see if we can get a business deal with NJPW. Let's expand on this. We did good. Conan did good with like the first 5 pay-per-views. I think we can do better. Guess what's gonna happen? NJPW, we would like to sit, have that conversation. That's why I said with bars in the last live that we did, I think like some weeks ago, when you had that picture up, and I said I would not be surprised if the reason why The Rock had that Rubik's Cube is that a Rubik's Cube, it takes time. He's basically saying this takes time, but it's in work, it's in motion. NJPW, it's gonna take some time, but guess what? Once that Rubik's Cube is solved, ding ding ding. We got
Yep.
the deal. That's why I said I'm not surprised that The Rock and TKO have not already had meetings with New Japan Wrestling. They're just trying to basically show them that they can both benefit from the product as well for both brands. Because remember, like I said earlier, NXT UK was a flop. So now with AAA being in the works with WWE, NJPW is going to say, okay, we need to see how this goes first. This is a
Hmm.
91-year-old company. If this goes great, then we can talk business. So that's why
Hmm.
I think The Rock had that Rubik's Cube because it's like, look, guys, it's just like a Rubik's Cube. It's going to take you some time, but once you get it, ta-da.
Hmm.
Because you know how it is with a Rubik's Cube. When you finally solve it, you feel a lot better because it's like, man, that took almost like a day, 2 days, 3 days. So, like you said, Bars, and I finally get it. That's basically the message. The message is we're about to do something with NJPW, but right now the time that we have to take is by making sure that Conan and AAA becomes a sold out pay-per-view and wows the fans. Once that's done, we're going to go back to New Japan Wrestling headquarters. We're going to have that conversation, get the contract signing, and then we're going to have it promoted.
Yeah.
So,
That's basically it.
are we going back to the territories? You think? Just a
To
Of
be
small.
honest,
course.
To be honest, like Adrian said, and Adrian made a perfect statement on this. WWE needs to go. WWE needs to go back to having territories. They need to.
Hmm.
I think so too. I think so too.
And you gotta look at it like this. It always was the plan to go back to the territory times. That always was the plan. That there was there. It always was the plan to go back to the territory to monopolize and get these other promotions and talent and exchange talent. And it always was the plan. WWE's been talking about this for years. It's when they first started NXT. I remember seeing a podcast interview with Shawn Michaels and Triple H and a few others, and them saying specifically that the plan is to have NXT spread out all across the
The
world.
World
That was
Cup.
the
The
plan.
World Cup.
Yeah.
Basically, the World Cup wrestling. Yeah, I remember seeing that as
Because
well.
I mean, they probably gonna have one in Canada. Canada
Wait,
probably.
do you think that they're doing it right now though by buying AAA, by
Yeah.
sending their wrestlers out to Noah, by
Yeah, and
going
that's
GCW and
that's what I
Bloodsport?
was saying. That's I don't well, George. I don't know if he was in here earlier.
No, I just got here.
Um, okay, but yeah, I was basically saying that when bars and when the bars had went live like some weeks ago, and I had already seen the picture with The Rock, but I know bars had the picture up with The Rock and the Rubik's Cube, and I think we just solved it for everybody who's in the chat comments that's watching. If you go back to that video that he has on his Instagram page, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
A Rubik's Cube takes time to actually get correct, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
he's wearing an NJPW shirt. That is a clear. That is, and one thing about the WWE. If you've been watching WWE like as long as me and Bars has, and OJ and everyone else in the chat, if you've been watching WWE for a long time, always go back and see how Vince has never publicly said things, but he has always shown it vividly through social medias and stuff for you to see. So
Yeah.
if you think about it, The Rock is wearing an NJPW shirt along with a Rubik's Cube. This is his way of saying it's gonna take us time, but guess what? The time that it's gonna take us, they're basically wanting to see how this AAA World Collide pay-per-view goes. And if it goes great and it benefits, then it'll be WWE headquarters along with TKO going back to New Japan Wrestling headquarters, having that same conversation, but this time they're signing the contract. And then
Now,
Yeah.
are
I
you guys
guarantee
scared? Are you guys scared for these companies at all that are being
here's
acquired
the
by
only thing.
TKO?
My only thing is this. When it was Vince, yes. When it was Vince, I would have been like, I feel bad for these guys. Because even when Vince was still owning the company, that's when NXT UK was a flop. That's
Mm-hmm.
when NXT UK was a flop. Now, however, now that Vince is no longer in the
So how
picture,
in the fuck? No, it conscious. I'm going like this. How in the fuck they if NXT UK fail, and they got that British Cup bullshit? Okay, let me ask the question. Just let me ask the question. How are they supposed to basically make Worlds Collide work?
because
Bro, we just
Good
it's
told you,
question.
man.
we just told you They're gonna make Worlds Collide work because Conan, who basically owns like AAA, he's
No.
not about to sit there and basically have that thing become a flop. He knows that he can't afford that. And then on top
Yeah.
of that, remember, Triple H is in the hot seat right now. The Rock clearly said it on that pay-per-view, on that interview. If he had creative control, he would have done things like this. Hey BFF, so you
Conscious.
have yeah.
Conan doesn't own AAA. He's
I
just
mean,
the booker.
yeah, Booker. Sorry, he's the Booker, but you have to understand, Triple H is in the hot seat, Black Queen. If I was Triple H, I would be making sure that from here until Money in the Bank, with SummerSlam as well, I would be making sure that I have every promotion and pay per view at a 10 out of 10, or at least something at an 8 out of 10, because at this point in time, you can't afford to have another bad pay per view. WrestleMania was not that good. Maybe revenue wise, it probably was, but in respects
It
to
was kind of
the
like
fans,
lackluster.
right? In respects to the fans, it was not good.
But was it really good revenue wise? Because
Nah, because
I'm hearing they lying about their numbers a little bit too.
nah. So
But
apparently
they
they
still charge
made
so much this year.
they made Las Vegas 200 million.
Oh wow.
Wait, hold on. Triple Williams debut on TNA tonight.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what somebody just
Yeah,
recorded.
TNA was on tonight.
Yeah, Rebellion's on. Rebellion's on. I'm going to watch it after the live. I'm going to check it out. But
And you got and you just gotta know, Black Wing. I get what you're saying. Like, how's it gonna work? This is where Triple H and the whole WWE behind the scenes, everybody and TKO gonna have to realize, if this works for Triple A, then you need to be very business minded on how you make your moves. Because if NXT UK was a flop and now you're trying to restart it over, you can't afford to make this a flop again. Otherwise, you could forget other wrestling promotions and other like promos wanted to like do business. That's why I think that's why The Rock wore that NJPW shirt along with that Rubik's Cube, because he's got them basically ready. I'm pretty sure The Rock and TKO, they had a great conversation, great conference meeting. So now it's like this. Their thing is, in order for you to get this contract signing, we need to see how this AAA World Collides pay-per-view goes. And if it does exactly what you say it's going to do and it benefits and it gets the fan base, then we will go ahead and sign that contract.
yeah, I wanna give a little pushback on something. I don't know if it was you, OJ, that said it, but I want to give a little bit pushback on something too, because
Go
I
ahead.
think this is important. All right, so we were talking about how AEW has the CMML situation and they have the New Japan situation over there too. All right, so let's talk about the New Japan situation with AEW. Just because New Japan has a situation with AEW doesn't mean they can't work with WWE. The issues between WWE and AEW has nothing to do with New Japan. And I'm going to say this, New Japan is working with a bunch of other companies. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure a lot of those
independent
companies.
companies.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a difference, bars.
Yeah, I know it's a difference, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to that almighty dollar, you don't think New Japan is not going to jump on that? They're going to jump on it.
Not when they're trying to get creative control. For example, what Conscious left out was that Triple H just added a new booker over in AAA.
Who's that?
Who's that?
I can't remember his name, but you can look it up.
Oh, Jeremy
He's
Borash. That's who it is.
he's working side by side with
He used to
Conan,
work for
so
WCW.
that tells you
Yeah, right.
that Triple H and them are about to take over 100%. Not only that, but what promoter ever tells a company, entire company, that they're required to utilize the WWE way and learn English? CMLL doesn't do that.
Well,
New Japan doesn't do that. So so when other companies are looking from the outside in, this doesn't look good, and this is what we were talking about in multiple different lives. And what I've been saying, it doesn't make other companies want to work with you when you're going to come in and restructure it, come in and take over, and come in and put the WWE touch on it. Which again, if you also notice, CMLL has actually sold out. Not only the AEW event, which is near selling out, they're at their I think their last 100,000 or so tickets,
Mm-hmm.
but they're selling out completely. So if this Worlds Collide for the first time of first promotion that they're putting on together doesn't work, it's going to be telling.
Mm-hmm. I think honestly, Angel, I think, and and this is just me. This is just me having, you know, what I mean, having some high hopes for the thing, only because I'm seeing the people that could possibly be involved. I think it's going to work, and I also think the one thing that I'm trying to stick to, and hopefully I'm right, you know, is I don't feel like they're gonna. I don't feel like. Well, one thing is that I don't feel like it's a bad thing for them to learn English, because if you want to expand your promotion, you gotta learn some sort of English. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you gotta be like super fluent in it, but if you want the American fans, like especially the hardcore wrestling fans like us, to really like watch your product and understand what is going on, you gotta learn some sort of English, because at times,
Hmm.
like me, I've
That's
watched
funny because Nakamura doesn't know much English.
who
Nakamura,
he knows
Curious
enough.
Dane.
He knows enough. He knows enough. Because I'm saying, like, when you call those spots in the ring, you gotta know something. It's not it gotta know something. Like, there's gotta be something up there. Like, when they're calling the spots, something has to click for them to know. Oh, I gotta do the Hurricane Rana next. Oh, it's a drop kick coming. Oh, I'm gonna climb to the top rope. You know what I'm
Doesn't
saying?
mean they have to learn English.
Why?
It just
Why
means they
don't
may
it?
have a translator, and that. But learning English isn't. It's not the native language. I mean, that's not what America was built on. Most of it was built on Spanish, if not native, indigenous language. But at the same token, for them to come in when they have a partnership with Noah, that's never amounted to anything. And again, I'll say it. We literally watched Almost succeed in the company, get a belt, and then get pulled out of there. Why would New Japan or any other Japanese promotion want to work with them watching that? We build your talent up for you to take it away. Why would we want to do that?
Well, here's my thing. We only a lot of us only looking from the outside in. We don't see what's going on behind the scenes, as far as like why they pulled him. I don't think it was a good idea to pull him, because he actually was doing pretty well up there. But like I said before, I do think to a certain extent that English is important for a lot of the international wrestlers, because at times when you're trying to put like this, if you're trying to sell yourself as a champion to me, and I don't understand nothing you saying, all I could go by is your movements and what you
So what
doing in
about
that
this,
ring,
bars?
huh?
So what about this? Why not just do the CC? Why not just do the caption? Just do the
I don't know
caption.
why they don't do that. That would
Right.
be a good
That's
idea.
if you wanted to, you could do what WrestleMania does every year, where they get the Spanish ring announcers. I mean Spanish
Yep.
commentators, and they have the regular commentators. And then if you want, also add the captions. Actually add the captions at the bottom, so that way we
That's
can
a good
see.
idea. That's a good
That way
idea.
it makes things easier. So it's like, okay, we hear the Spanish commentators, but guess what? Read the bottom. The bottom tells you who's facing who. Ta-da. But that's what I'm saying. WWE, things like this is where Triple H needs to realize, you this is why I said before, when you say things like quit being a critic and be a fan. But see how we're discussing this, and how I just came up with that? This would be me telling you as a fan, I'm also a critic, but guess what? I just gave you an idea. This is why I
Hmm.
said he's having to eat those words, because guess what? There are people like us on this live, and as well as other lives that we are on with other great people as well, who are
Hmm.
very smart and are really good at seeing how the company runs. And when they critique it and they actually
Hmm.
come up with an idea that's valid, it's like, damn, Triple H, you should really just shut the hell up and listen, because it makes sense. If you want wrestlers to know English, how about you get the Spanish commentators along with the Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, whoever you choose, and then just put the CC at the bottom so that way we can read it on our TVs.
Oh, hey,
Makes it
put
And
Corey
that
Graves with them.
that
Shoot.
would be a great idea. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You see what the type of society we deal with, right? Like how many loyalists besides us
What's
that you
up,
think is
Brian?
going that how many loyalists besides us do you think that's going to want to be reading the caption?
Well,
Like we
I'm
got
not
some
a,
lazy
I'm
folks. We
not
got
a,
Our
some
listen.
lazy
attention span,
folks.
people
I'm
attention
not a
span is different
loyalist,
now.
but I ain't a WWE loyalist.
I
I'm
read
all
the
No,
captions.
I'm
captions.
talking about
I
wrestling
have
loyalists. I'm not
Oh,
talking
wrestling.
about
Oh
W.
yeah, wrestling
Yeah,
loyalists. Yeah. I
I
yeah.
mean,
utilize the caption. I watch it and use it every day.
yeah. I
I
can't
don't
even
use
hold
You
it.
you.
do.
I
You
can't hold you,
do.
Yeah.
but here's my thing.
It's
When I
not my
watch
fault.
like
I'm not going to hold
CMLL,
people's hands, but I'm not going to force my talent
right?
to learn a language they may not want to learn. I'm not going to do that. That's to me that's completely disrespectful to them because then it's like, well, why don't we use or understand their language? Why aren't we teaching our backstage producer Spanish? Why
Well,
are we
see,
forcing them to adapt to us?
I
See, to
can't.
me, that's just, it's not, it, what I'm saying is we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be forcing talent to do something because we think it's correct. We think it's the correct business aspect or the correct way, especially knowing that most of the market down in California are Latina community. Most of them
Yeah.
are, majority of them are Spanish speaking. So in
But
all
Mm-hmm.
retrospect, they should be offering. Should they offer it? Absolutely, it should be an offer. Hey, let's set up some tutoring program. Get a sponsorship with Babbel. I don't know. Offer free community classes that they
well,
can give an
Conan did say
option
that.
to.
Conan.
But at the
Conan.
same token,
Mhm.
you shouldn't be forcing people to learn something they don't wish to learn.
But what we also have to understand too is if WWE's funding that money, they the ones that cutting that check. Then you know what I'm
They
saying. You're
don't force their
basically
UFC fighters to learn English.
Right.
Just saying.
And at the
that.
same time, like Angel just said, it comes off disrespectful. It's like, damn,
It
you already
does.
didn't change Gulf of Mexico to Gulf America. Now, if majority of your fans is Spanish and majority of Spanish, culture doesn't understand English, only just Spanish, it feels like it's a bit of a jab, and it's like WWE. Come on now. If you want the American side to understand, then just do the CC captions, bro. I get it. I know people don't want to use them, but guess what? When you're seeing these great like lucha libre fighters, these wrestlers doing amazing work, which I think they do amazing work. When you
Mm-hmm.
see them doing amazing work, we want to know their names. When we see their entrances and they come out, we want to know who they are. So guess what? If you want to know who I am, read the caption. My name is El Mystical or El Shamal. It doesn't matter. Whatever my name is, at least you know who I am. You may not get every single finisher, every move, every grapple, every taunt, whatever the case may be, but at least you can say, "Oh, I know who that is. That's El Mystico versus Rey Mysterio."
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know exactly every single move I'm doing because 9 times out of 10, you know what the moves are. You know what the grappling moves are. You know what the
Mm-hmm.
move set is. You know what my signature, my finishes is. I mean, just about every wrestler nowadays, besides Lucha Libre and other wrestlers outside of that, have their own finishes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like at the end of the day, like I said, the problem is that you are telling us you're basically forcing you're forcing the culture to have to basically, oh, if you want to be in this business, you got to know English. That's kind of disrespectful because it's like,
Yeah.
no, I shouldn't have to learn English to be accepted. What you should do as a company and as a businessman, you should be a businessman that understands. Do the CC caption. As long as your American side of the world knows my name, that's perfect. They don't have to hear exactly every damn move I do, but at least they can hear the uno, dos, tres. You know what that means. 1, 2, 3. Pinfall, I win. That's it. And you
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the show. But when you sit there, you're giving an ultimatum on a contract. Oh, in order for you to be a part of this company, you must know English. That comes off like a disrespectful. It's almost like a Trump jab. Like you moving like Trump right there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Well, we all know already. Like we already know that WWE's political standing. So we ain't even gotta we ain't even gotta
right?
go too far with
Wait,
that. We already know their political standing. So we don't gotta go too far with that. But but like I said, when it comes like the perspective I'm looking at it is this. If WWE's holding all the cards, then you basically have to submit to a certain extent of what of what they want as far as their American crowds. That's basically how Conan was. I'm paraphrasing what he was saying on the show, but that's basically how he was saying it. I mean, he ain't say to the extent of what I'm saying, but that's like if you read in between the lines, like that's what he was saying. And I'll even send you guys the link if you guys didn't listen to the show, I'll definitely
Hmm.
send you guys the link and y'all can see for yourself and see, however you guys want to decipher it. But that's how I took it. You know what I'm saying? Like
And you know,
hmm,
oh, now you know what, Angel. I don't know if you agree with me, Bars and OJ, and the rest of everyone in the comments.
hmm.
Thank you guys for joining Bars Wrestling Live. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
lit.
appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. Darkwing, are you gonna come up on the live, man? I know you got a lot to say. Exhausted,
I,
what's good? Are you gonna come up on the live?
I was gonna say, do you remember when The Rock had said what he said on Pat McAfee when he said that if he had creative control, this is what he would do?
Mm-hmm.
With and Angel, I don't know if you agree, but I think just a take. I think with this whole contract thing, basically telling like wrestlers, the Spanish wrestlers, the lucha libres, excuse me, that you have to know English in order to be a part. I think this is part of the reason why The Rock made those comments that he made. I think that's part of the reason why he made that comment. If I had creative control, I would have done this differently. I feel like that's also a part of it. Like I feel like he's looking at it like, you see why I said what I said, Pat McAfee? You see what I said, fans?
Mm-hmm.
This is perfect right here. Look at your so-called COO, and he's basically demanding on a contract that lucha libre wrestlers know English in order to be a part of the company. What kind of is that? But if I
Mm-hmm.
had creative control, that would never be on a contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all agree, but that's what I kind of get from it.
Well, yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent. But like I said, man, like whenever this is just my opinion. Whenever you put the power of a dollar in somebody else's hand, and then they're offering you that extent as far as money, they're always going to have the upper hand as far as like what the do's and don'ts of what they want, what they're asking for. You know what I mean? They always going to have it that way, and I learned that from working where I work at. We get sponsorships, we get all types of stuff from outside vendors and whatever just to provide for our patients. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
if they're providing, then they're going to like make the rules. You know what I mean? And like Conan said, there's going to be some people that like it, some people that's not going to like it, and those are be the ones that's going to leave. Because he already had put it out there and said that there's bunch of guys that already left already, but they gained some new guys along the way. So I mean, like we just gonna have to see. Hopefully, as wrestling fans, it works out. For AAA, and they continue to
Mhm.
do what they do. You know, and it just continues to be competitive because at the end of the day, I just want to see some competitive wrestling. I don't want to see I don't want to see no squash matches within there because a
No,
lot
it's
of
not.
time a lot of times when you watch these promotions do interactions with one another, the other one promotion is always going to lose all their matches. We've seen it with TNA a few times with WWE. Like certain wrestlers, they'll get squashed by the WWE guys. I don't think that's cool. I think it should be evened out. And like prime example, even though that was a great moment for Joe Henry, I don't think Joe Henry should have got, what I mean, done like that.
Yeah, I don't like that. I was like, come on, y'all, come on, really?
Yeah, but I get it. I understand it was last minute match put together, so I get it. But I feel like they should have had them work a match for a little while longer than that. That match wasn't even 5 minutes. That match was like maybe minute 50 seconds, and it was already over.
And he the champion, man. That made that
So,
company look kind of weak.
do you
Exactly.
agree? Do you agree in the comment section? The dopamine really be getting to people, but Your boy Les Kings, he said WWE is telling the truth. They need to learn English, just like you working at the factory. You got to understand the boss.
This was an acquisition. Triple H is not their boss. It's TKO Endeavor. It's an acquisition. So their boss is still Marisama Pena, who still speaks Spanish, by the way, who doesn't probably know much English at all. But again, it is what it is. Just for the person in the comment.
Yeah, I mean, like to a certain extent,
he's creative. He is creative. He's not
Triple
their
H
boss.
is not their boss. Marcella Pena is still the boss of.
She's still
Triple
the owner
H.
of it. It's an acquisition.
Yeah. Just because, like that's why I was trying to explain to folks. Like, I don't think of course there's going to be certain things that's going to be changed within AAA.
Growing pains. It happens.
But from what Conan is saying, they're going to keep their name, and is going to be certain things changed business wise, as far as wrestler wise. But he said most of it they're still going to be running AAA. That's why I said it was similar to the TNA situation, because he said that they still going now. Now, if something changes and Conan was just blowing smoke, then we're gonna see it soon enough. You know what I'm saying? You can't go on
maybe at the year we're gonna say, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe anything Conan says, but for the most part, it's not like TNA. TNA is a partnership where they can shut that down. Either side can shut it down. This acquisition is an acquisition, meaning that they're under the TNA, or I'm sorry, the TKO umbrella. So it's never gonna end. Like, it's done. This is
just because Triple H. Hold on, okay, OJ. Just because Triple H has a boss doesn't mean he's not the boss. Triple H is not a boss. You're the person that's above you happens to be The Rock's best friend. Let's get the facts straight. Ari Emanuel is above Triple H. He's his boss. Triple H is just a COO. He's not a Vince McMahon. There's a difference. If he had a Vince McMahon position, then he would be the boss of the company, but he's not. TKO are the ones being Ari Emanuel and The Rock's best friend. So technically, yeah, bro, you saying look it up, you need to actually like do proper research. You saying watch interviews, but guess what? The research is already out there for you to see if you want to check the facts. And I got a good amount of people in here.
The Rock is on the board of directors. Blackpool. Yeah, he's on the board of directors. No,
The Rock is not. Yeah, The Rock is not his boss.
He has influence over anything that happens within WWE, meaning he has the right to sway voters or whoever's on the board of directors for TKO. There's only one side. And that is 100% TKO. He has influence on creative. He has influence on other stuff, but he's not Triple H's boss. Like he's on the board of directors. Yeah, like Emmanuel is the one that's the head person.
Yeah, I said Ari. So to Blackpool and Goblin, I said that Ari Emanuel is Triple H's boss, and he is also best friends with The Rock. That's what I said. I didn't say that The Rock is his best friend. I mean, it's Triple H's boss, excuse me. I'm saying that he is Ari Emanuel's best friend, but Ari Emanuel is also the boss over Triple H.
I appreciate the gifts, Vibe. Appreciate the gifts, Vibe. Yeah, I would like to hear Goblin's point of view on this. You know what I mean? I need Goblin to talk about this. You know what I mean? Because he's pretty understanding, and he got a lot of history on this luchador wrestling. So like I want to hear what Goblin got to say. What's good, bro?
Shit, I'm just here, bro. What's good with you? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Conscious, OJ, Darkwing, my boy, Angel. How's it going,
bro?
Hi.
So you heard everything that we're talking about. What is your take on
it? To be honest, man, like I feel like, I mean, from what I've gathered from most people's like the general consensus is like worried, right? Not about WWE, but about AAA. And like, you know what I mean? And I think it's warranted, you know what I mean? Like, especially with everything that happened with like the British wrestling scene after NXT UK, you know? So and I think again, I grew up I'm from Southern California. I'm Mexican. Like AAA and CMLL, I remember watching them as a little kid on weekends. You know what I mean? I used to catch them on just television. They'd be on like Telemundo or Univision or something like that. So, I mean,
Every
it's
Saturday after Sábado Gigante.
exactly, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So, I mean, to me, I think the most important thing, uh, the way I'm looking at it is, I mean, it's a cultural aspect for me. Again, as a Latino, as a Mexican, I all I hope is that it doesn't, like, the heart and soul of lucha libre and AAA and the prestige of, again, for better or worse. I mean, I know there's been controversies within the brands and things like that. You know, all that aside, I mean, same thing with WWE, WCW, wherever it is. But I mean, just in terms of like lucha libre as a culture to us, like it's ingrained in the fabric of society, in Mexico. You know what I mean? So as long as it doesn't become a bastardized version of WWE, or as long as they don't, like, you know, I mean, I would be a lot more worried if Vince McMahon was there, because Vince has that, I shit on everything that's not WWE. And you know what I mean? Like, he did it with WCW. He kind of turned ECW into a joke at times and things like that. But yeah, that, to me, that's my number one concern, is just the cultural impact that the WWE will have on AAA and Lucha Libre. And you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. I kind of say it with when people get released, or there's like a purge or something like that. You know, I mean, hopefully there's not just this mass release situation where WWE is like, I'm gonna keep these 10, 20 people, and then everybody else gets fired and things like that. Like, so for me, I'm looking at it more from a different point of view. The wrestling thing, again, that's all TBD. I'm not here to speculate on what's going to happen as far as wrestling. Like, I know, like, you guys mentioned about the Joe Hendry thing. You know what I mean? I have no doubt that that's probably going to happen. There's probably going to be some guys that come in, or I know with the Worlds Collide in June. If it's a AAA versus WWE, I would not be surprised one bit if the WWE guys go overhandedly over the AAA guys, which fucking sucks.
Completely agree.
Right.
But yeah, man,
It
like
already
I said,
happens.
yeah,
It's
We
basically
saw it happen in NXT bars. It's gonna happen.
yeah,
Where they
absolutely.
brought in TNA guys,
right,
and
I
they
was
were
just about to
thrown
say
out
that too,
immediately of that one gauntlet they had to try to find a number one contender. But what Exhaust has said about the culture, like, I completely agree. That's my biggest fear too, is they're going to, and I hate to say this word, but whitewash it.
Yeah, no,
And just
absolutely.
stick masks
the
on
part
random
that's what's
random
gonna mess it up.
individuals like they did just now. Like, I know you said you're more worried about Vince McMahon, but here's the difference between Vince and what we're witnessing right now. I do think Vince McMahon had more appreciation for the lucha culture than Triple H does. I mean, I'm not happy with the El Grande thing. I think it's a complete slap in the face of not just to Chad Gable, but for the culture itself. To announce that day that you have an acquisition of AAA and then do what you did on the biggest stage of them all is a big FU to lucha wrestling. And on top of that, you're putting it on the same day as Money in the Bank. Like, to me, that's like another slap in the face. Are you saying that Lucha and the Collide, pay PLE that you're trying to promote isn't going to be grand enough for you? You have to do double. Like, to me, it's just telling so far and just witnessing everything. But I agree with Exhaust. Like, if you go to Mexico, like, I went there, it's been 7 years. And just going into, like, my favorite part of going is usually going to the flea markets and having the culture, getting my favorite candy, Mexican candy, La Rosas, and getting just a tamale or
Angel,
anything
I,
down
I,
there.
Angel, I had a La Rosa. I had a La Rosa like 2 nights ago. Like I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Those are like my favorite. Like going and getting a bunch of La Rosas, and then moving
up,
on,
Dylan?
and then like getting the fresh guave and the fresh honey and stuff down
Yes,
there.
guave, yeah.
But not only that, like just seeing the mask. Like you go down there, like I had to go buy a new bag when I went down there for a cruise because I came back with way too much stuff. And getting the hand sewn, shoes like my grandpa used to make, and I'd be like, oh my god, or the dresses, and seeing that's the stuff that he's talking about. That's the culture that we're talking about when we say lucha wrestling. Like when you go to Guadalajara, you feel it. You go to a show, you're part of it. They welcome you. That's what we're talking about. They don't make you pay out a normal amount of like pricing for stuff. Like they welcome you. It's like the showcase. It's the representation of our culture is what he's talking about. That is like right now where for me, I agree with Exhaust. I am scared to see just take it away.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And,
like, I mean, it's the again. I mean, the biggest. Like, I mean, I've had I think it was the next day or a day or two after WrestleMania and the announcement of the acquisition. I talked about it, and like on my lives, we were talking about like luchadors and like who's the great luchadors, and people. I mean, obviously there's Rey Mysterio. People will talk about Rey and Juventud and this and that. And I was telling him, I was like, I mean, I grew up. Again, I'm 40. I'm 40. I was my parents were a lot older. They had me like later on in life. So my dad and my mom was born in Mexico. All my grandparents are Mexican. Like my mom and my dad, they were telling me about like growing up watching El Santo movies and how El Santo transcended wrestling. He was a movie star. He was the movie star. He was not only the best, he was not only the number one wrestler, but he was also the number one movie star. That would be like, you know what I mean? That's the transcendency of lucha libre into pop culture. It's a symbol of the Mexican people. You know what I mean? So that's my big concern. I just hope that they find a way at least to how can I put this, to just let AAA be, for lack of a better way to describe it. Just like don't sit there and be like, all right, this is going to be the breeding ground for WWE. I know a lot of people have referred to it as like, oh, this is
NXT Mexico.
And exactly, NXT Mexico and things like that.
That's what I feel like it's going to happen.
I was just about to say that, Angel.
It's going to be the doorway. But again, I want everyone to just think about it this way. Like the way that we see lucha is how most people see pop culture in America. Like that's what it is. When we see it kind of change, well, with lucha, yeah, they change and they evolve, but they don't lose like the essence.
Yeah,
and that's
it's basically the same. It's basically the same when you think of, like, for example, we know who Patti LaBelle is, right? But then it's like you hear, it's like Celia Cruz.
They are, Dylan.
You hear like Celia Cruz, and people probably, it's two different styles of music.
It would be this, like your guys's, like ours Americanized Michael Jackson is like Vicente Fernandez.
Right.
And you saw why, like the world was like, that's how it is. Like that's how I look at lucha right now. Like it's almost like you're seeing your greatest musician that was down there and just all of a sudden just disappear.
So and that's the best Angel. Way. Do you think WWE, because you know how they did with TNA where they had Moose face Obafemi, face like two champions. So are we agreeing that we're gonna probably see that with AAA and WWE? They're gonna try to have like.
I wouldn't be surprised. I absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if it will be Alberto though. That's probably the one person.
I don't think it's going to be Alberto.
That was a rumor. That was a rumor, OJ. At the moment, it's still a rumor. Like it hasn't 100% been confirmed. I've heard like like off and on, but I've heard it's a rumor.
I got Andrade should be the champ. He should be the champion of the company once
Andrade was never part of AAA.
Yeah.
I'm saying once he should be the one that
He doesn't like them. That's the part that people don't understand. With all the individuals that they put up there as props, some of them had no affiliation at all with AAA. They only had them up there as props.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe
it's the same as them doing like Black History Month and showcasing all their Black talent. That's what they did. That's literally what they did that day.
And I believe, Andrade, he wrestled for CMML. Like I believe
Correct.
He wrestled for them.
He never wrestled for AAA.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Rey Mysterio did. Dragon Lee did. But most of them, and some of them aren't even Hispanic. Some of them are like what? Oh my God, the one that in LWO, they're like Puerto Rican or
Puerto Rican, and I know who you're talking about. You're talking about
Dominican. I think it was
Joaquin Wilde is Filipino. You know,
Filipino. Thank you. Exactly. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, like that's the problem that like I was looking at this and I'm like, what are they doing? They're just parading them. Some of them never worked for AAA. Some of them know the rumors, like Exhaust said. Like there's a lot of stuff that happened in AAA that why there's so many companies that don't wish to work with them. And this is why I say BARZ, like it's telling you shouldn't tell your talent or force them to learn something they don't wish to learn. And then they wonder why there's so many indie promotions that don't want to hire the ID people anymore. Right. Because sometimes it's a bad look. It rubs off onto them, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that's not how we run stuff. That's not who we are."
Dylan, I'm gonna be honest with you. Seeing Zelina Vega win the U.S. title because her husband returned. Because I just thought that was so funny. I said, "Oh, your husband's here."
You need to stop that.
Your husband's here. Next thing you know, Zelina Vega, United States champion. Although I will say she definitely deserved it because Chelsea Green, it was starting to get boring a little bit. To me, it was starting to get a bit boring, especially with her having Piper Niven and the rest of them.
You leave the U.S. president alone, okay?
Can I ask a question? Does anybody know? Because I saw it on Twitter. Like Chelsea is she hurt? Because like she said something like, "Oh, I'll see you guys later." Like, you know what I mean? Like
that's probably a promo work right now. The only person who's hurt and is not a promo is Bayley. And
I don't think she is, but she may have asked for some time off because I know she's celebrating her anniversary. I saw that, so it might be that. I think she's like 8 years celebrating with him, so it might be that. Okay. But then again, who knows?
Yeah, I wanna hear Darkwing's take on this AAA WWE situation because I know he had some things to say in the comment section. Now he's up here with us. So Darkwing, what's good, bruh?
What up, y'all? What up?
What's good?
I honestly, I don't feel like I can put in much on this topic for the simple fact is I am not Mexican. I don't feel like I have enough knowledge on Mexican wrestling culture, just to be flat out honest with y'all. But from the sounds of it, I agree with Exhausted and Angel. I would hope that Triple H and TKO Endeavor would not whitewash this. Just let them keep doing their thing. But the whole language thing, like really, that is nothing but politics. That's all it is. It is straight politics. Because I know you say you didn't really want to get into it, but if you think about the Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico, oh, they need to come up here and learn our language and so our people can understand. That's all it is. It is straight politics, because we know where Triple H and those guys lie when it comes to politics. So to me, I feel like that is completely it. They're trying to get a different base in there. If you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Um, but really, I really don't feel like I could put a lot more into it than what Goblin and Angel have already said,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like they're speaking more from from experience kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like this is their thing right here, and I can't be. That'd be like them saying, well. Uh, I'm going to speak on the black wrestling thing. Well, wait a second. Me and Bars and OJ are up here. I mean, I think we should have a lot to be able to say a lot about it too. I understand you guys having your opinion, but you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. I mean,
No,
I just hope that they don't do to AAA what Vince McMahon did to, let's say, Sylvester Ritter. You know what I mean? He came into WWE as a junkyard dog and was completely watered down. So
mm-hmm.
that's my hope for is that they keep it what it is. They see
Yeah.
what they see the kind of product that AAA is, and they try to keep it as close to that as possible. Don't WWE. I won't say whitewash, but don't WWE wash it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I hope they don't. I mean, I want to think that they're not. But at the same time, like a lot of these guys, man, when they on their podcast, they be capping a lot. They'll say a lot of things to make everything sound good, so then the fans don't get all up in a roar or whatever the case may be. But I'm hoping that they will keep to the tradition of what lucha libre is, because
Please.
I honestly, I don't want to see no whitewash version of lucha libre. I feel like we got enough of that as it is.
Yeah. I want to see a different. I want to see a different style.
Yeah,
I want to see a different style. That's what I want to see. I want to see something different.
yeah. I don't want to see no whitewashing
Yeah.
lucha libre. I want to see the
The
traditional
sad,
lucha libre style.
the sad thing about that is, bars, is as much as we have seen WWE, like, in the past, and even now, it's like we've seen them do things that has truly destroyed the traditional. It's like the things that were traditional, they want to change them because, oh, let's
Hmm.
try to see if this will work. It's like, bro, stop trying to add your flavor into it. It's like you want to always add your flavor into what's already traditional, and then you expect to see like better results, but then it's like then the results that you see is not what you expected, so then you get all, oh, well, we got to figure out something else. No, you should have never messed with it in the first place. Leave it
Hmm.
as it is, because this is why I said I don't this is where I think people get upset when you try to add your own, and it's like, bro, stop, because this would be the problem. This is where people get offended, where it's like, okay, it's just like in the music business. We got what we like as hip hop, but then it feels like, oh, you want to add this person in here to try to learn from us and then copy us, and next thing you know, you want to put them as the greatest. We're not doing all of that. Like, we
Right.
gonna keep it smooth, we gonna keep it traditional. However, for Lucha Libre, and as many years as it's been going, and it has been great in my opinion, because I do watch it, I don't want to see it being turned around. All of a sudden, we got Motor City is in there, or we got Pretty Deadly in
Mm-mm, we don't need that. We don't need
right.
that.
We don't need that.
We don't need that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That part right there, what you just said, it speaks volumes, because Conan did say that there was going to be some sort of mixture of American talent within that whole situation too. Not necessarily if they have an event like a show on TV. He's basically saying that it's going to be some sort of American talent involved in that pay-per-view, that PLE they got coming out. That's
Well, I
what.
just hope they don't. I just hope if they're gonna involve some American talent, don't go crazy. Keep it traditional. Keep it where
Yeah,
Lucha Libre still has the upper hand,
yeah,
because then you start to lose the essence, and then when the fans start to give up and don't want to watch it, now you feel some type of way, and then it
right.
becomes a flop, and now it's like, oh, you didn't pull another NXT move. What you expect now?
Mhm. I wanted to tap in on what Dylan said. He said Lucha Underground. I don't think Lucha Underground was whitewashed though. I just thought it was just a mixture,
Mars.
huh?
What did you call him?
No, I don't know if I said Dylon. So I thought I spelled it. Did I
It's
say his name?
Dylan.
It's
Dylan.
Dylan.
Oh, my bad.
Nah, wait.
Yo,
Wait.
that's
Hey,
that jersey. That's that jersey
bars.
right there. My boy said
Nah,
Dylon.
nah, that's some Chappelle show shit right there. That's Dylon, and
My
Dylon,
bad.
bro. You know
My
what?
bad.
I was like, what did he just call him?
My bad. My bad.
Nah, Dylan's actually good people. Dylan, he's in Creepy and Chris Live. He's from here in New York, but he good people though.
My
Good
Yeah,
bad.
people.
he's good.
My
What
bad.
can I? What? Oh, sorry,
Go.
Bars. Go ahead. I
Nah,
just
I
wanted to
was
ask
just.
a question, but go ahead.
Sometimes what I want, what I read, and then what I want to say, something else comes out because like my mind be going like 1,000 miles at a time. So then like
Yeah, it's okay.
I could read
I just
something.
was like, what's a Dylon? Like, it sounds like that vacuum or something. It's
Nah, Dylon popped into my head. Dylon popped into my head because I was thinking of something, and then that's when that's what came out. But that's not what I meant to say. Dylan, that's what I meant to say. My fault though. You know what I mean? But what I wanted to, I just wanted to tap in on what he said though. I don't think Lucha Underground was whitewashed. I just thought it was a mixture of styles all on under one umbrella. Because if you watch Lucha Underground, they still kept the Lucha style, but they also had Americans up in there too. So if WWE
his
does
comment
something,
was
huh?
his comment was to what OJ said when he said he wants something different. Is what he said was
Oh,
what he
okay,
meant.
okay, okay,
Meaning, like,
okay.
if they brought Lucha Underground back, and that's why I
Okay.
said no, that Lucha Underground is gone. Like, we'll never get that back.
See,
That's what
but
Okay.
he
you,
I
meant.
don't. I don't want to see Ron
but
Killings and Lucha.
I,
Lucha
I,
League. I don't want to see Ron Killings there. He don't need to be a triple
Because
A.
Lucha Underground kept it like everything you would see in Mexico, but they kept it story based as well. Like, but it was still way more cinematic than what it should have been. But it was great.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it, man. I wish it never ended. Actually, you know what I'm saying? Especially when their storylines wasn't that bad at all. You know, they really was getting into it. Like, you know, I wish they had stuck around longer, but
Yeah.
you
When did
know,
they end it?
I believe they
Due to
ended
COVID.
back in 2000. What was it? 2020,
20.
something like that.
Oh damn.
Yeah, yeah. They
I think
was.
COVID messed them up.
What'd you say?
The COVID situation messed them up. I think. And
Yeah,
they
yeah. Yeah, because they wasn't doing their tapings like AEW or WWE was doing. They were doing their tapings, and then that was it. So when COVID happened, that kind of disrupted everything because they wasn't doing no live events. They wasn't doing no live events. They didn't even have no pay per views. I don't believe I seen them in no pay per views neither. They didn't even have that. If
They
I'm
was
not,
on. They was on Netflix, wasn't they?
huh?
Was they on Netflix?
No. I believe they had some episodes on
The L. Okay, the L.
they
L
had some
something.
they was on El Rey. They was on the El Rey network. And they actually have some episodes on not Tubi, but what's the is it Amazon Prime they got? I gotta
They
check again.
have some you can buy. I don't think you can like subscribe to it. I have to look again
Yeah.
because I've been looking to
I
like get the collection.
yeah, I know for me I got the whole first and last season of Wrestling Society X on DVD box set. I got the whole joint of Wrestling Society X. That was my show, man. I was pissed off when they were done.
Mhm.
Oh, so Last King said it was November 7th, 2018.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
wow.
Okay, so yeah. Damn. That's crazy.
That's why I'm hoping that with Lucha Underground gone, I'm just hoping that with Triple H talking about he wants to have some American like wrestlers a part of this company, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just hoping that he doesn't turn this company into a Lucha Underground situation
Mm-hmm.
because he's gonna that puts WWE in an even bigger controversy than it already is in, especially after Paul Heyman's comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, let's so who do y'all think is gonna be the next Paul Heyman guy?
Honestly, I don't think WWE is even at this point trying to bring in nobody else right now, because I just think that, quite frankly, with the way Triple H, has been allowing wrestlers and people to give their differences, and that WrestleMania roast that's still being talked about, and then you got the whole Paul Heyman situation. I honestly, and The Rock with Pat McAfee, and along with Triple A, I feel like right now that's like the last thing on his mind. Like, it's like finding managers. I think he's more concerned about how The Rock basically threw him under the bus, and how basically he has no other choice but to make sure that the next pay-per-views that's getting ready to that we're going to be seeing soon, they have to be on point. You can't have no mess ups. Like, if you mess up, it could be a bad look on you. And then you got people going around saying, "Oh, by 2025, this is it for Triple H." You even had like classic, like legendary wrestlers on who have their own podcasts who've been saying the same thing. So it's kind of like, yeah, everyone's giving an opinion, but it's like, Triple H, you really need to make sure, like, I could care less about a Paul Heyman or another manager like Paul Heyman. I would be more concerned about managing these company deals, as well as these creative controls that you have. Because, like, example, you have a WWE show called Unreal, which is like, why would you make that move? That was stupid.
Yeah, exposing the business and stuff
You're
like
exposing
that.
the
Yeah.
business, and then, like I said last time, you're destroying the imagination for the children.
Yep.
Don't give them that
God, you are.
satisfaction of seeing a ring get built. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing how a match card is actually made and who wins, because then you make them say, "I don't want to watch wrestling. I want to watch something else." So you're losing promo and you're losing profit.
Yeah.
I get what he's trying to do though. Like, he's trying to get people like to see like the inside and like see how hard it is and stuff like that. But like, yeah, you fucking up the kids' imagination and people gonna want to watch other stuff. Like,
Because it is oversaturated. It is. It's too much.
It's just like the hip hop. It's just like hip hop right now. Everything's oversaturated, so it's making it to where people find it to be boring.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. So usable said Hulk Hogan is the GOAT. Hulk Hogan is the
Boy,
GOat.
stop.
Holberry Hogan.
Man, what you smoking, dog?
He's
Hey.
the goat.
Boy,
He's
stop.
the goat of the Republican Party.
Look, come up here, man. I want to hear his opinion about it. I really do.
Oh, Lord.
He got a request. You want to
Hold
come
up.
up here and you want to come up here and give your opinion?
Yo, Angel, he's the GOAT
Yeah.
like Vince, my nigga.
Of the Republican Party.
Right. He's the GOAT of saying
like
my
it for real.
nigga all the
You know,
time.
I don't even blame you, usable. I don't blame you, bro. Cause at one point in time, I used to think that too when I was a kid, that he was the GOAT. But I ain't know no better because I was a kid. But now that I'm a lot older and I've watched a lot of other wrestlers since then, I might have him in the conversation as far as like top 20 because of what he did for the business itself. But I can't have him as a wrestling GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest.
See, that's like
Hulk
people
Hogan,
saying John Cena's the
Hulk
GOAT.
Hogan's in the top 10. I'll give him that. He's a top
Yeah.
10,
people-
He's up
but
there,
he's
y'all.
not the greatest of all time. He's in the top 10 of like the GOATs, but he's now this is why I was saying before. This is why I put
Conscious. I was gonna tell you because I ran into that live that you was on a few days ago where y'all was breaking down what makes somebody the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Break that down for him again.
So, I know you're talking about. So, I was basically saying why John Cena, in my opinion, is not the GOAT. And the reason why I said that was because I said you guys are so quick to say that, oh, well, he's the GOAT for this, he's the GOAT for that. No, there is different criterias that you must have in order to be in the GOAT. So, it also goes by charisma. It goes by championship titles and how long you reign with those titles. It goes by fan base build up as well as locker room build up. And it goes also, matter of fact, hold on one second. I have it written down. If someone else want to talk real quick, I'm gonna try to pull it up on my iPad.
Yeah, hey, yo, I think he's trolling right now because now he talking about Chris Benoit. Come on, bro. Come on,
He's
bro.
been trolling.
Yeah.
I know you were trolling when you said Hulk Hogan's the GOAT. Come on now.
Yeah.
In ring, I agree. Like Chris Benoit is one of them. I do agree with that.
Some kind of people that ain't
But
got nothing better to do with them lives and they want to troll like that.
if you're separating it,
Yeah, if you
Nah,
definitely
man.
separate it, that's one thing. But yeah.
but again, it depends upon the era that you're looking at and like the time frame. That's why when it comes to GOAT status, I think it should be based upon eras.
Mm. He said he's separating it. That's what he just said. He's separating
Oh,
it.
so okay. So here's the thing,
But
right?
you
This is
can't
what I put.
separate Hogan because he makes
So
his character into reality.
right.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
it's the
he
truth.
definitely did.
Definitely.
When you're doing the old GOAT label in WWE, right? This is what I broke it down to. It is subjective, but there are commonly agreed upon criteria amongst fans, analysts, and even wrestlers themselves when you're handing out this title. So this is my breakdown. Number one is in-ring ability. Number two, you got to have mic skills and charisma. Number three, you have to have drawing power. Number four, championship and accolades. Number five, longevity and consistency. Number six, cultural impact. And number seven, influence on the industry. Like for Stone Cold. Stone Cold had a short career, but his impact was nuclear.
Right.
It was a nuclear impact. The Rock has had a longevity career, but let's be honest, when he was calling himself the Brahma Bull, he had mic skills as well as in-ring ability and a cultural impact. Undertaker, longevity as well as that undefeated WrestleMania streak, and also having in-ring ability. Just to give you a few couple names. So I feel like for John Cena, he was in the PG era. This is where all the older guys and older ladies would basically say a lot of the OGs from the Attitude Era and up, they would have rejected the PG era because that was considered play nice era, play nice for the kids era. And then he was the face of that era. A lot of OGs and even people who are now OG status would say, I don't like the fact that John Cena was the face of the PG era. Then on top of that, you were literally stale for 10 years. You were stale for 10 years with the hustle, loyalty, and respect. You never changed. You stayed a baby face.
Yeah.
And then think about it like this: Batista, Randy Orton, him, as well as Brock Lesnar came in at the same time. I think another thing that also makes you a GOAT, do things like what Brock Lesnar would do, where he would interfere in people's matches and he's power bombing and hitting F5s and superplexes on people to basically show I'm here, I'm ready to whoop anyone's ass. Let me know what's up. I know a lot of people don't like to give Batista his props, but I can tell you why Batista is in a GOAT situation. Number one, at one point, Batista and John Cena were the two biggest names in the WWE. And they held it down. Even when Batista was heel, Batista was one of the biggest names still. His in-ring ability was already what the hell? This man is going to be incredible. His mic skills was even good. Batista always gave he had a nuclear impact in the game. He may have not had the longevity like Cena did. However, he was consistent. Everybody knew when you heard that Saliva, Walk Alone theme song and you saw Batista come out, you knew what was about to happen. The animal was going to be unleashed. You saw how the kids were just they how can I put it? It was an adrenaline rush for everybody inside the WWE arenas, wherever you was at, even on TV. You knew it was an adrenaline rush when you saw Batista. You see Batista hit a spine buster, he hit the spear, he shake the ropes, Batista bomb. He got the crowd's participation. He got the love. He had great drawing power. Everybody knows Batista was good with selling tickets as well as his merchandise and the pay-per-views that he was in. I mean, let's not forget Undertaker versus Batista. Let's not forget John Cena versus Batista. He's had some great WrestleMania moments. And then, like I said before, the influence on the industry. You have a lot of people in the WWE who do have influence from Batista. They do.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you're talking, that's what I was saying earlier. Those are my 7 criterias. I just feel like the reason why people put John Cena as the GOAT is because of how long he's been in the game. However, if you look deep into it, he was the face of the PG era, which, it was don't get me wrong, it was eating or whatever. However, a lot of people would consider the PG era to be the soft era. Like that's your play with your kids era. Like Attitude Era, it was really all about if like let's be honest, when it came to the Attitude Era, right? You had to prove yourself. Prove to me with your attitude. Prove to me that you can whoop a man's ass or a woman's ass. Prove to me that you can win a title as well as take a loss and not cry about it. Prove to me that you can reign and hold the title for as long as you can. That was what it was. That's what it was all about, being an attitude. You had to give us attitude. For the PG era, it was basically like, oh, just be soft, just be soft, don't just take it easy.
Yo, the one thing that you mentioned that I want to elaborate on, right? So we talking about the years that John Cena's been in the WWE, right? Some of those numbers are exaggerated because he took a long stint off and then he came back. Then he took another vacation and then he came back because if you look it up, it'll say 2000. It'll say either 2001 to 2006 or something like that, and then they'll have a blank space, and then they'll say 2000 such and such to something like that. So he's been back and forth, back and forth. So I feel like his numbers has been exaggerated just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree, and this is another thing too for me, and this is not just with WWE. This is just period in entertainment. You cannot, in my opinion, you cannot do greatest of all time. It has to be greatest of an era, because that's just like for music, right? That's like saying, oh, Mario, Tank, Genuine, Tyrese, and Donnell Jones, but you don't have for like greatest R&B artist of all time. But I don't see a Teddy Pendergrass. I don't see Marvin Gaye. I don't see Smokey Robinson. I don't see a Stevie Wonder. I don't see Donny Hathaway. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you can't do it like that. You have to do it by eras. It can't be of all time because then it's like, bro, what are we doing? Like you like, I'm sorry, I can't put John Cena above Stone Cold, Undertaker, Ric Flair, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I can't put him above them because they did more than him.
Right.
If you really think about it, was Drew McIntyre lying? Was Kevin Owens lying when he said? Was CM Punk lying when he said it? John Cena is only a 5-move man. He's a 5-move man. He does that shoulder thrust. He does that power slam. The you can't see me. The STFU or the FU. Ta-da! Your time is up. My time is now.
Well, I gotta say FU to you all because it's been fun. I gotta go to sleep because I gotta be up at 5 in the morning. So, but it's been fun. So I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, take care.
It was great seeing you again, friends. I missed you guys.
Good seeing you later.
Hey, I wanna answer something real quick that I see in the comment section. So it says, Chris said, people swear Zena has never left. I must be tripping because I feel like there's almost 8 years without. Yeah, you're not tripping, bruh. You're not tripping. There's some years, there's some blank spaces in there. You know what I mean? That's why I said they exaggerated his numbers as far as him being in the business. Now, overall, he's been in the business, I believe, 25 years because he did say that. That I believe. But as far as WWE, he got some blank spaces in there, just like The Rock. Just like The Rock got some blank spaces. So,
But I mean, when you look at The Rock and John Cena, like when Darkwing was in Chris's live that day, I even said, look at The Rock, John Cena. Yes, they both generated the crowd participation, but let's be honest. The Rock, when he was the Brahma Bull, what did he do? He brought the women. He brought the women. The women was coming to the shows.
Yeah.
John Cena was bringing the kids. He brought, because he had the Make-A-Wish Foundation, things like that. However, The Rock, especially when he was on his Hollywood scene, he always found a way to bring what? The women. That's all you used to see. Remember when they had the little bikini contest with the female wrestlers and The Rock did a surprise return? Yep. What was the women doing? They was all in the ring clapping their hands because it was like, whoa, like, it's The Rock.
It was a pie eating contest, wasn't it?
Right, it was a pie eating contest.
Yeah.
And then it's like, let's be honest, like even with, and then another person, I'm gonna tell you this right now because you guys will agree. At WrestleMania 41, when you heard that glass shatter, did you not see how the crowd jumped up quick? And did you not hear that pop? That is one of the greatest pops of all time. That is one of the only wrestlers I can say besides John Cena, who I can say will always have the greatest pop no matter what goes on, no matter when he shows up. He could be at Money in the Bank and the crowd goes nuts. Let's be honest.
That was a loud crowd.
Had Triple H would have put Stone Cold in that match with Cena and Cody and had Stone Cold come out and hit a stunner on Travis Scott, that would have been the most talked about thing. That would be the most talked about thing in hip-hop entertainment, wrestling entertainment, sports entertainment. ESPN, news channels would have been talking about this. Guys, just to give you a heads up, Stone Cold Steve Austin hits a stunner on Travis Scott. That would have generated so much fan participation and just stuff for WWE, because it's like, bro, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is what we should have got last year with him, but unfortunately we got Undertaker, still good, but now we got Stone Cold hitting a stunner on Travis Scott. That is a classic. That is something that you will always remember. That's why I say, that's why I tell people, this is why you can't sit there and say, oh, Stone Cold isn't the greatest. Look back at his career. Look back at his career. A short career, but a cultural nuclear impact.
Right. Yeah, I
still
agree.
think his Disturbed theme was the best.
And not to mention, Stone Cold, in my opinion, real quick, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. I'm going to put Triple H. I'll definitely put Paul Heyman. These are guys who I say they're not the type to just give you a handout. They're not the type to just tell you, tell everybody, oh, you're good wrestler, like how WWE giving out these legend contracts. They're from the era where you actually had to prove yourself. And they still have that mentality. So when you got wrestlers like Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest or, Io Sky, Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley getting their accolades from these guys, I would take that as an honor, because you're actually getting a handshake from a wrestler who does not give out accolades like that. However, you're getting your accolades from a legend who's telling you you're damn good. I would take that and always say, look at that. I just basically got approved by my favorite wrestler of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, a man who doesn't give out accolades, or as I like to call it, legend handouts. And I'm actually getting a handout from a legend himself. So, but thank you, Darkwing, for mentioning that. I thought people forgot when I was in the live, Chris's live.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It also goes to, if you remember how Bray Wyatt felt after he got that comment from The Undertaker, it meant the world to him. It meant the absolute world to him, going from conscious idea of what he was just saying. Like, those guys come from an era where you had to earn it. And to get that from The Undertaker, man.
You heard what Stone Cold said. He was eating a baked potato and drinking beer. Undertaker, and remember, these guys didn't have the money. They was only getting like 500 to 1,000, even if that, for every little wrestling show they did. And then on top of that, you had to travel in those cars that they had 10 miles just to get to the next state. Didn't have no money. So this is why I tell a lot of people now, look at wrestling back then as it is now. Because people always talk about, oh, why the old school legends keep coming? Because this new generation has the money.
Yes.
And they wasn't able to get that back in the day. So the fact that Stone Cold can get $3 million now, think about what it would have felt like for him to get $3 million back then. $3 million now is basically $30,000 for him back then. So it's like, this is where the humbleness comes in. He's humble and thankful that, guess what? I wasn't able to get $3 million back then. That was $30,000, but I'm actually able to get it now. So let me go ahead and take the opportunity to get this $3 million and just basically equalize the bag. Right. And I think that also has something to do with The Rock, because think about it. The Rock bringing Hollywood into the scene, not Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan was not that good with his movies, but The Rock, in my opinion, when he brought in that Hollywood feel, especially like the Scorpion King, I think that is what helped the WWE catapult more with revenue. So where it's like, look, there you got Triple H. He's in the Blade movie. You got Stone Cold in the Expendables. You got Stone Cold doing films. You got John Cena, even though his movies
they don't even do that no more, do they? They don't got that no more.
No, I think they. Oh, they talking about like the WWE movies and stuff.
Yeah, they don't even do that.
No, they still got it.
They still have it, but it's not like popularized as it was before. I think the last person who actually had I think John Cena was the last one.
Kane was the last one. Remember he had that movie.
John Cena. No, I thought it was John Cena.
Kane had the See No Evil joint.
Yeah,
And
but
there was a
remember,
part
I
two of it.
think remember, oh, it was Paige. Okay, thank you. I knew it was somebody.
Yeah,
Paige was the
Paige,
last
Paige
one,
too. Yep.
and then
Paige.
after that,
I forgot about her.
it's kind of like
Moxley.
WWE just stopped. You know, it's they that yeah. I feel like they kind of stopped on it. Like they still have it, but they don't utilize on it anymore.
I never seen that movie, Page movie.
But this is where I go. Give Batista his props because Batista has played in the greatest movie from a WWE superstar going into Hollywood. Give him his props playing Drax in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. You
Yeah.
have to give him his props for that.
Nah, he did his thing. He did his thing as Drax. He did his thing for sure.
So are we gonna get him in the Hall of Fame? Like, what's going on?
You know what's so funny, OJ? After hearing Triple H talk about China, I would not be surprised if next year we don't see China, John Cena, Batista. I would not be surprised.
Well, the
I thought he
way
turned it down the first time. Didn't Batista turn it down this year or something like that?
Batista turned it down because of the movies. He had the
Yeah,
movie
okay.
stuff to do.
Well, you know who needed to get in the Hall of Fame? Smash and Axe need to get in the Hall of Fame. They need to get them guys in there.
who?
Smash and Axe, Demolition.
Demolition already in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think so.
Nah, they are. Trust me.
Are they?
Yeah, they got into the Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's year before
I think the
last.
War Wars, but that's the only one I think that was in the Hall of Fame.
Demolition in there too. Look it up. Look it up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Your boy Usable said The Rock and Jumanji is better than Dave as Drax. Bro, are you
What?
a Thunder? Bro,
He's trolling.
how is Mr. Thunder Cookie, Mr. So-called Thunder Cookie, and Mandros? How is that better than Drax? Do you realize that Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy
trolling,
was a
dog.
$1 billion movie?
That man trolling, dog.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel like you just trying to get a reaction, Usable. I mean, if you want to come up on the panel, and speak your truth, go right ahead, man. I'm not holding you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can come up if you want, but I'm just saying, like I feel like you just saying stuff just to be said. He said no, he's serious. That's his opinion.
Do
Like,
y'all
all
watch
right.
the Do any y'all watch the LFG? Show?
Yes, I do.
Do you feel like we see a star on there? Do you feel like there's somebody in there that's?
I think we do, but I did hear AJ Styles' comment that he made.
What's that?
What'd he say? Because I missed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, he basically said that the WWE is where he got his stardom, and that's where he basically was. That's where he got his status to being phenomenal. Like, wait a minute, excuse me, what the hell is
Okay.
TNA? Because that's where you got your status of being phenomenal.
Right.
And he came
Was
from
in
WCW
TNA.
too. He went to WCW.
Yeah.
Nah, but like
Before that.
he's saying, but he was throwing he was throwing pews at TNA because he said the WWE is where he became phenomenal. No, the hell it was not. You was
Nah.
phenomenal when you was in TNA.
He was the franchise. He was the sting of that promotion.
I think what happened with that with him and TNA is that they left on bad terms. Because he obviously he left when TNA was going down in the dumps. So I think this version of TNA will probably fit him better. But yeah, he left TNA on bad terms. So
He's a little better about it. Yeah, I got you.
yeah, so did Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe left TNA on bad terms too. Like a lot of the old TNA guys that are not there now, they left TNA on bad terms because TNA was going elsewhere as far as creative, and they didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for him to do a little rundown. This a little run. Maybe
he not. I think this is it for AJ Styles because if you think about it, he's like what 47, 48.
Mm-hmm.
He's pushing that, and you got to think after hearing, and not to cut nobody off, but after hearing what Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins said about even their future, I mean, Roman's already said it, 27, 28, he's out.
Yeah.
Because I get it, that leukemia, and then even what Rollins and Roman said at the same time as well too, the medical like surgeries and stuff they have to go through, and like how much time they have. It's like you got to think. Okay, yeah, I'm getting all this money, but it's hard when you have to sit out months and months, or even like a year, just to like get all like healed up, and then you're back in the gym, and the next thing you know, you got to return. But like you said, it takes a toll on your body. And I know I heard someone saying that oh, these new school wrestlers don't have it like the old school. No, the thing is, old school wrestlers, for example, Sabu had his whole entire skin peeled off and he super glued it back on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. Wrestlers back then, they didn't take their injuries serious. Look at what happened with Austin. Austin was just reaching to come back into the WWE. He didn't want to stay out. And then look what happened to him. Now he had to get 2 knee surgeries just to be on point. Had to make sure his neck was not messed up. Had to get that neck fixed. It's like, bro, when you don't take your injury serious, it comes back to hunt you. And that's even like Mick Foley. Mick Foley had to get 2 knee surgeries and a leg surgery. And a back surgery. So that lets you know all of what they did back then, I get it. They were more so like, okay, I didn't have the money, so I was more like, look, take some pain, some pain unalive us, and I'm gonna just call it a day. However, with today's generation, you have to take your health serious. So if that's even with like Big E, people talking about why he isn't back. Remember, he had a neck injury. Normally, when you have a neck injury, you don't come back.
Yeah.
Stone Cold is a perfect example of why you should come back. Because even I don't know if y'all saw his documentary, Stone Cold said even to this day, he still be twitching.
Yep.
That right there should tell you. I don't want to be twitching and everything. So if I have a neck injury, I'm sorry, I'm not risking it. Look at Braun Strowman, all those guys. They had to lose.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle had to like step out because it's like, bro, I can't do what I did when I was younger.
Man,
I'm much older now.
Rey Mysterio trying to still wrestle. I think he need to be done.
Nah, Rey Mysterio, I think he's messed up because after what happened at SmackDown when he got thrown out the ring and he messed up his knee, I think he actually did. I think from what they said, it was a real injury, and that just goes to show Rey is 50 years old. I feel like when you hit your 50s, it's just like NFL. What normally happens? Normally when you hit like your early 40s, like up to 45, they're expecting for you to retire.
Yep.
I feel like in WWE, once you hit your 50s, another example is somebody, Undertaker. Look at what happened to the Undertaker. He's had to get so many surgeries, and yet he finally realized, as much as he wanted to get back in the ring, my body said no. He really went through an R. Kelly phase. My mind is telling me yes, but my body is telling me no. So it's like, look, and my mind is telling me you're still an unalive man, but my body is telling me I'm tired, man. Like I'm tired. Like let's just call it the end of the year. You lost 2 WrestleManias, just retire so we can just just stay home and
now
take
he
care of the
everywhere.
kids.
Now he used to be everywhere. He should just not make appearances on nothing.
I mean, well, when you think about it, Undertaker is, like I said earlier, he is one of the greatest due to the fact of his longevity and because of that WrestleMania streak. I mean, if you guys remember when you won elimination, when you won the Elimination Chamber, I guarantee Vince McMahon used to give you 3 options. You either face the World Heavyweight Champion or the WWE, or you face the Undertaker at WrestleMania for the streak. That became an actual stipulation for people. So for your undisputed streak to become a stipulation in WWE, that's impressive. But I'm glad he retired.
Also, if you remember what the Undertaker said during the Last Ride documentary, he said back in those days, if you get injured, there was a high possibility you would lose your spot on the roster too.
Yep.
You would go back down on the roster. So also those, not just the money, they didn't want to lose their spot.
Right. Just like NFL. Look at like Russell Wilson. I'm sorry. When you start getting passed around to different teams, it's time to hang up the cleats soon. Because you're getting passed around too much. And then especially if you only get 1 year with every team, yeah, Russell, you got mad money that's gonna be coming in regardless. But I think it's about time that you go ahead and, retire the cleats and the jersey. And I feel like that's even like even in NBA, you hit 35, they expected for you to retire.
Yeah.
Even like LeBron. LeBron is still good, but however, he's starting to realize I'm getting too old for this shit. I'm getting too old for this. Yeah. So I'm gonna need.
How about them Lakers about to get bounced out the playoffs, Bars?
What'd you say?
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about them Lakers about to get bounced out the playoffs.
Why did they lose tonight?
Yeah, they lost.
They sure did.
So what they down 2-1? They down
3-1.
3-1. 3-1?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, Well,
I like it for
I
game
know,
5.
I know, I seen, because I didn't see the game. I know I seen some highlights where LeBron was diving for the ball and Anthony Edwards' ankle got caught up under LeBron and he twisted it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
JJ
Man,
Redick
LeBron
didn't
and
even
people
rest
want to
any
put
of his
LeBron
starters in the second half.
What'd you
and
say?
people want to put LeBron over Michael. Man, please.
What'd you say, JJ Redick? What?
JJ Redick didn't even rest any of his starters in the second half. They all played the entire second half, no substitutions.
Oh wow. Hmm. Well, hey, I already made it clear as far as my Lakers that, you know what I mean. I see them going far, but I didn't see them winning a championship this year. But you know, it is what it is. You know. So
How about them Pistons?
now what about them? Like, what did they do?
They got screwed.
I know they got screwed, but I
Um.
heard about it because they was actually on the road during the playoffs. I was like, wait a minute, Detroit starting to get a name out here. What's going on? I ain't heard that name. I ain't heard Pistons in a minute. Like I
I
ain't
think they're
heard
gonna
the
win game
last
5.
time last time I heard the Pistons was that Cars movie with the Piston Cup. With the Piston Cup, not Detroit
He
Pistons.
wild.
Like
Hodges is wild.
yo, trust me, I was at a basketball live earlier. It was a girl from Detroit. She's a huge Piston fan. She's like, y'all ain't see my Pistons? I'm like, well, last time I heard of the Pistons was in the 2007 Cars movie, Piston Cup. And yo, she was like, she started laughing because she said, Conscious, you wrong for that. I'm like, I'm just saying, baby, life is a highway. Call me Lightning McQueen.
You
It's just
wild,
the
bro.
hey, I told her straight up. I said, I'm like Lightning McQueen. It's just an empty cup.
Yeah,
I guess that's how pissed. I guess that's
Lightning
how
McQueen
Detroit
was my
feeling.
guy. Lightning McQueen was my guy, man. I was just watching that some Cars movie with my kids the other day. Lightning McQueen was funny, but you know who really was funny? The pickup truck, the one,
Oh, Mater.
Mater.
Yeah, Mater.
Mater. That's my
Mater.
guy, yo.
Crazy thing is how in real life, I was just telling somebody. I said, isn't it crazy how like for like Bars, myself, Dylan, Darkwing, OJ, Nasty Leroy, and maybe OTR. I don't know what year you was born, but like it's crazy how the cartoon movies that we grew up watching, how in real life it actually means something in reality.
Yep.
I'm like,
Hmm.
damn, movies like Cars, it teaches you how to be humble, how to like stop
Yep.
thinking that you the illest and the best on the track or you the best out there because one day you're gonna have to be reminded to be
Hmm.
humble. And it's like you see what happened with him. He got reminded to be humble, but he also met good friends in the end. It just
Hmm.
goes to show like even if you are the best that's out there, don't act as if your friends is not here. And you never know who you may meet. So I was like, damn, all these damn kids movies. And I was like, nah, I realized it. Like all
Hmm.
these kids movies really was teaching us how to live a reality that we should be living and not
I never
how we
saw the
try to
movie
like,
Cars.
Yeah, you
force.
gotta
But
watch it, man. Cars was all right, man. It was all right movie. It was all right. It
yeah,
wasn't
Cars
bad.
is actually a good movie. It
Hmm.
wasn't bad. Especially with Doc Hudson. Rest in peace to Doc.
Yeah.
He was like that grandpa who had to like, tell you like, listen,
Hmm.
I'm gonna be on you, but I'm gonna make sure you be a champion, but I'm gonna humble you.
Hmm. Yeah. OTR, man, what's good, bro? OTR was good, bro.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me? What's going on?
Yeah. So you feel like tapping in on the topic of discussion before we let out?
Or
We was talking about we started talking about the whole Lucha Libre situation with WWE and AAA. Then
uh-huh.
Then we started talking about a little bit about Mania with The Rock, Pat McAfee, John Cena, and then we just dabbled into a bunch of other stuff as well. So feel free to give in your input, man. However you see fit.
uh I'll talk about the Rock situation because
Hmm.
um the Rock situation has just been a whole bunch of chaos this whole week, and it's just been crazy. But I didn't like what the Rock said when he talked about record. Oh, it's a work. Oh, it's fake. Oh, it's calm down, brother. I just thought
Hmm.
that was complete bullshit. But honestly, at this point, I'm kind of ready to just like move on from it. But it's kind of
Hmm.
hard because it leaves a sour taste in our mouth because it's like the storyline didn't really complete itself, and I felt like The Rock wasn't really necessary. But it's kind of time to just move on and get fuck, But he'll find his way back probably later in the year or something. He's never going to go away. So,
Well, he
but
can't. He can't go
yeah,
away too far. He's on the board now, so
yeah,
you know
so
what I mean. He's always gonna be around. So
yeah.
Can I just say this? Uh, I realized that listen to Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock. Dwayne Johnson didn't have, or Triple H didn't have really nothing to do before Elimination Chamber, right?
hmm
And it took me a while to really like get all this together, right? So they didn't really have nothing. So they was like, all right, we're gonna turn you heel, John. Then when John Cena turned heel, they showed it like 50, 11 times, you know, and they was like, oh, John Cena's heel. Everybody shocked, all that other stuff. They didn't really have no story to go on a consistent story. If you realize, if you like the Mania build and everything, and then afterwards,
hmm
they didn't have a consistent story. So I think with The Rock was just dead. Like, you know what? I kind of like we don't have nothing, so I'm just gonna set this up. I'm gonna leave. You
hmm
know, because we don't have nothing, I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna leave because I don't want to be in no, like no scramble and be mad at me or whatever. But that also makes you to think of like, yo, if you didn't have nothing, to say you ain't had nothing. Just be like, hey, we can come up with a
That's
better story.
that is
Mm-hmm.
true because I did just realize that Elimination Chamber took place in March and WrestleMania was in April. How the fuck you didn't have a plan already for your main event of the
Yeah,
show?
bro.
But
hmm
that goes to show why he said what he said about Triple H and why he threw him under the bus. He felt like the creative, if like I said, for Dwayne Johnson to say if he had creative control, he would have done things differently. Then that goes to show that him and Triple H, which we know for years they have had a rocky friendship. They have not liked each other for years. Because if you guys remember, back in the 2000s, Triple H actually tried to get The Rock fired from WWE.
hmm
I do feel as though because of past issues, it's one of those things where it's like, look, we can smile on camera, but behind the scenes, I don't like you. I don't care for you. I don't like you. We're just business. I'm with TKO. You're with WWE. I'm on the board of directors. But see, this is why I think The Rock feels like he got one up on Triple H. My best friend is your boss.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So it's like at the end of the day, I could just sit back and relax. You the one that got to be the one to prove your point. My
Yeah.
best friend is gonna be the one that's over you. So if you mess up, I know my best friend's gonna call me and be like, "Hey, you want to take over for creative control?" So then it's like, "Oh, I would love to," which I don't want to see that. But also, I had my hand up real quick. I don't know if you guys agree, and this is to the panel and people in the comment. So I was actually on Daydream's live today, and we was watching Gorgeous George versus Jesse James, 1951.
hmm
And if you go back and watch the entrance of Gorgeous George, I said this is giving Seth Rollins. This is a new Seth Rollins gimmick. Think about
I
it.
can see that.
If
I can
like,
definitely
cause
see that.
you know what I'm saying, like how Gorgeous George wore the robe and how he
hmm
would have his helper. Seth Rollins' helper is basically Paul Heyman. Paul
hmm
Heyman can help him
Yeah.
since Seth Rollins is very like into the flashy designs and stuff. I feel like if he wanted to be the Messiah again, create him a replica of like what Gorgeous George robes used to be, and then have Paul Heyman, unhook it and undo it for him.
I can
I
see
said,
that.
yeah. I was
I can
like, yeah, I
definitely
ain't
see
gonna
that.
hold you.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins with a Gorgeous George gimmick,
Yeah.
money. That'll be more money for him.
I definitely can see that. I can see that myself for sure. I definitely can. Well, guys, it's gotten late for me. I gotta be up early, man, and hit that gym. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you guys for checking in with me. I appreciate you guys in the comment section. I'm gonna get out of here. To all my YouTubers out there, my followers on YouTube, I appreciate y'all as well. We're gonna be back with another live BARZ Wrestling Media. Deuces to everybody on the panel. Darkwing, I'm gonna hit you up, bro, so we could chat about Thursday.
I got you, bro.
All right, man. Everybody take care. Have a good night.
All right, you too, bro.